We are now back in session. We are moving forward with item 7, set a hearing for May 21st, cost recovery proposal to adopt ordinance related to fees and deposits in the Department of Health, Education, and Quality. Do we have a presentation?
Vice Chair, we do. We're just going to give an abbreviated statement, and we have additional slides if you'd like.
Perfect.
All right. Good afternoon, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer and members of the board. I'm Stephen Tamayo, Deputy Director with the Department of Environmental Health and Quality, or DEHQ. DEHQ oversees over 40 programs focused on environmental justice, conducting inspections, compliance monitoring, and enforcing laws to improve public health and environmental quality. The average fee increase across all fees for DEHQ is 5%. Fee ordinances require 2 hearings. Today's recommendations on item 7 include finding that proposed actions are exempt from CEQA, waiver of board policy B29, find that adjustments in fees and changes are necessary to meet operations, approve the sunset of the permanent food, housing, and pools facility annual permit fee reduction, approve the first reading of the ordinances, and if approved, set hearings for May 21st, 2025. Adoption of the ordinance would take place after the second reading on May 21st, and the proposed fees would be effective on July 1st, 2025. This concludes our presentation, and staff are available for questions.
Any questions? Supervisor Desmond?
Just a procedural one. I'm sorry. Did you have a question?
I shook my head no.
You are on as a request to speak.
Oh, well then I will.
I'm honoring your request
I just
to
have
speak.
a comment. I don't have a question. But just to, thanks for your work. About 250 veterans-owned businesses benefited from the DEHQ's Veterans Fee Waiver Program every year, so appreciate that. This occurs primarily in the retail food program. There are also a few veterans who benefit from the fee waivers for pool and temporary event permits. But again, I'm going to ask for, I'll go ahead and set the meeting date, but I'd like staff to work with the building and septic stakeholders in the meantime and try to see what more can be done. I just don't want to hear what has been done. I want to hear what more can be done to help offset these fees to these folks. Thank you.
Supervisor Montgomery Steppe.
Thank you so much. I just have a procedural question before we go to public comment, and that is, there are 6 items for today. Do we have to vote on each one separately? Let's take a separate. It's the following actions will be taken with a separate vote on each item. Is that just May 7th we do all 6, and then May 21st we do adopt the ordinance? What does that mean?
Davia, do you know?
Just turning to Inga to ensure. I believe we take the vote on these items to move forward to the May 21 public hearing on the collective set. Is that anything I'm missing there, Inga?
Yes, that is correct.
So the separate vote is just one vote today, one on the 21st.
That's
not
right.
All okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll turn to public for comment.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer. We do have 9 total requests to speak on this item. All of those are coming via phone. I'd also like to note for the record, we did receive one e-comment on this item, which was in opposition. Any individuals that have requested to speak on this item by phone, now is the time to dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board. When it's your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted. You will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments, and we'll go ahead and begin with our first caller.
At an average 5% increase. Bit less onerous, but still inflationary. Basically, we pay more for less service. How about actually fixing the environment, like kilns poisoning our neighbors, lead or stuff in the water poisoning us, or the whole TJ River Valley crap, or felonious animal cruelty? Oh, it's not what the department does. Where have I heard that before? Let the game of telephone begin. I also heard something about your monitoring illnesses and all that stuff. I mean, I hope you don't believe the CDC or FDA. I mean, only 42% of Americans trust them, which is basically the same as last year. So, I mean, if they can't increase their popularity, why trust them? And, maybe if you fix things, then you'll actually have justified these fee increases. Or maybe grateful people will tip you more than a few $100. But this time it looks like you're targeting food and housing for nonprofits. People need to eat, people need a place to stay. And it means low-income people will be squeezed once more. Just how stupid do you think we are? Maybe you can provide food by building more community gardens first. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll go to our next caller.
Department of Health and Quality, more like Department of Disease. This is including for things such as food, pools, housing, body art, massage, like a massage parlor. I don't know, is there happy endings in that? Is there more fee if you get a happy ending? That would be good. Organized camp programs, wells, septic systems, site management and mitigation programs, hazardous material programs, the solid waste. The proposal also includes fees for the radiological health program, services in vector laboratory and miscellaneous department fees such as specialized technical staff services. You guys sit here and you're like, poisoning people with the water. You're lying to them about the environment. You're not providing housing at all. I mean, you sit here and pretend you get into these, contracts with people, but it's like, 10 years down the road, we'll be able to have something for you to live in. You are putting up infrastructure that it significantly emits radiation with all your EVs and all of the electric infrastructure that is sitting there putting out the radiation, which makes people sick. It has the same symptoms as the flu. Your vector laboratory, you were lying to people about COVID. COVID doesn't even exist. Even the department, the HHS from the state has said that. Yet you guys are sitting here testing people for different things, giving them vaccines, until you can start telling people the truth of what you're really doing, which is poisoning them on a massive scale, as well, along with the chemtrails that you guys want to pretend don't exist, and the spraying cloud seeding before the storms. You guys shouldn't be getting any more fees because you're going to just do more of the same. And you don't care about the environment. You don't care about the health of the people. You don't even care about the human life. I mean, literally, and I'll keep mentioning it, children are being abused in county custody, and you don't give a shit. So when you want to sit here and be like, we're going to provide all of this health and safety stuff, it's BS, it's lip service, and it's a bunch of hocus pocus to make people believe that we need to pay more money.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Consuelo here. Yep, I agree with everything that Paul the Bold and Audra just mentioned, and it is unfortunate. And yeah, same script as Paul mentioned. It's less. Wait, what is? I don't even have my glasses on. Whatever. It's just it's just unfortunate that all these costs, all these things for things that you truly aren't taking care of, and it is evident that everything's just it's going to shit, really. Yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say. So, yep, I concur with Audra and Paul the Bold.
Thank you. We'll go to our next.
Thank you.
Go to our next speaker.
Thank you, Peggy Walker. I know this addresses specific items, but because cost recovery program fees can be related to hazardous materials, it seems the right place to urge your consideration of a user fee at point of sale to cover the growing costs of e-cigarette and vape hazardous waste disposal. E-cigs and vaping are now at epidemic levels, and they result in unprecedented hazardous waste, including e-cig vape plastic containers and their toxic e-cig refills and e-liquids. These pose a costly environmental hazard that waste disposable plants are not equipped to handle. Environmentalists say e-cigs are potentially a greater environmental threat than cigarette butts because they do not biodegrade. They introduce plastic, nicotine, carcinogenic vape juices, salts, heavy metals, lead, mercury, and flammable lithium-ion batteries into waterways and soil, subjecting wildlife to harm. Nicotine, originally used as an insecticide, has carcinogenic potential in humans and is explicitly listed by the government as an acute hazardous waste. Manufacturers fail to provide appropriate disposal methods for e-cigs, which are thrown away at a rate of about 4.5 per second. Most users simply don't know what to do with them, so they'll toss them on the ground. So a user fee at point of sale could be used to establish a standardized program for e-cig disposable, and it could help cover waste disposable costs that are extremely expensive and rising. Thank you, and I hope you'll consider this.
Thank you. And it looks like we did have one speaker sign up in person. I'd like to invite forward Marco Espinoza. You're okay? All right. And with that noted, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, that concludes public comment on this item.
Okay, thank you. I just want to note, I appreciate the cost recovery proposals. I think this is just the right way to run our county, to make sure that what the services we're providing, to the extent feasible, that we're recovering the costs of providing the services. That's just how we should operate. I think that it's a good policy, not mine. I don't get to take credit for having put it in place. It's been here long before I got here. But I think this one makes a ton of sense because it makes sure that we as the public, government are not like subsidizing or providing sort of like random subsidies to various market private sector actors and distorting investment incentives, which can really distort decision-making and kind of take a lot of resources from the public that should be better spent on other things. So I will say, I think cautionary tales from our city of San Diego, who I think did do that and led to like some really perverse outcomes. I see Monica shaking her head, which we maybe didn't anticipate. And
try not to say it.
But, it might have sounded good on paper, but the end result maybe went real sideways. So anyway, that's all. I just don't get credit for this policy. It's been here long before I was here. Makes a ton of sense. And thank you. Let's keep making sure that our fees cover the cost of providing services. So thanks. With that, I'll make a motion.
And Vice Chair Lawson, the motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present and voting aye.
Okay, we'll move on to item 8.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I'll turn it to Garrett to please provide a similar short form presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer and members of the board. I'm Garrett Cooper, the Assistant Director of the Department of Agriculture Weights and Measures, or AWM. AWM oversees over 30 programs that support public health and safety, a resilient food supply, continuing agricultural trade, and enhanced consumer confidence. The average fee increase across all fees for AWM is 5.2%. Our fee ordinance requires 2 hearings. Today's recommendations on item 8 include finding that the proposed actions are exempt from CEQA, a waiver of Board Policy B29, approve the first reading of the ordinance, and if approved, set a hearing for May 21st, 2025. Adoption of the ordinance would take place after the second reading on May 21st, and the proposed fees would be effective on July 1st, 2025. So this concludes our brief statement about our fees. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on our fee proposal.
We can go to public comment.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer. We do have 6 speakers that have requested to speak. Those are all coming via phone. I'd like to also note for the record, we did receive 1 e-comment on this item, which was in opposition. Again, for the phone callers, if you have requested to speak on this item, now is the time to dial into the conference line with the instructions that were provided to you. You will have 2 minutes to address the board. Again, when it is your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted. You will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments, and we'll go ahead and begin with our first caller.
All about, this seems to be the best of the 3 fee schemes, with fees only raised between 2.5% and 7.2%, although it's still inflationary, and we're probably paying for a lot of waste, a lot of stuff that we don't really have to pay for, and we don't get service for. But anyway, yes, these do tend to subsidize people, some explicitly, but most of them in the contracts you evidently don't want us to see. There's some even subsidized criminals like the ones from Flinsky. But here's one way to say it. Stop the water purification or insecticide programs. If you stop putting so much crap in the water, like fluoride, pesticides, and insecticides and all, I mean, we saw people just spraying Roundup where kids and stuff cross the street. Disgusting. So, I mean, that could even save lives, too. But if you stop putting so much crap in water, we can go back to the days of clean water. I mean, a bit of poo and pee from animals and all, it strengthens immunity, and it doesn't taste near as bad as it does even after all your testing. And maybe we can cut down on things like industrial hemp, which as...
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go ahead and go to our next speaker.
Consuelo here, so I will definitely be repeating what Paul said. If you through our money, stop putting so much junk into the water like fluoride, pesticides, insecticides, and all, we can go back to the days of clean water. So yeah, a little bit of junk from the animals definitely strengthens the immune system. And yeah. So also suggested maybe we can cut down on industrial hemp, which I understand it uses huge amounts of water to grow. I don't agree with that, but I will look into that. So anyways, there's just so many more innovative things to do before you raise fees. But we know you're going to raise the fees, so there you go. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to our next speaker.
Man, I almost thought I was listening to something else. All I hear is fraud, waste, abuse, fraud, waste, abuse, fraud, waste. And I thought I was listening to the Board of Supervisors, but then I was like, I am, and that's why I'm hearing that. Oh, I was like almost having to tune in the different station, but that's what's happening. So that's why I was hearing that. And this is funny because you need to do this because of increased salaries and benefits. Of course, right? We got to make sure people are living it up while destroying everything. And, this is interesting because it has to do with farmers markets and different things, when we're trying to control the resources. These are ways to do it because you act like by having these fees, you're going to do more things. Or possibly less because people are not going to be, able to afford whatever you're doing. But you don't really care. And it's just funny, hazardous materials inventory, does that include everything that's within HHS? Like all of the drugs, all of the genocide shots, all of the PCR tests that are tainted and totally don't work and have never been shown to work. They're not supposed to be a diagnostic tool, but that's okay, right? And so is that also the water and the food that you give? It's the air, right? Because the air is totally toxic. The water is. When we put things like lye and chlorine and as long as you can dissolve bodies. And hey, they're doing that. They have aquamation. So it's like you can just dissolve a body and then put it back into the water so that we're just all like cannibals. So, I guess if we want to continue more of the same, heck yeah, just raise those rates and you can kill people even faster, right? And at least people are going to get paid a raise to do it. It's just like, how cool is it for you guys to work in such a nefarious and malicious entity? Money makes the world go round, right? And it's the root of all evil, and so that we can see that. And it's crazy for me to even be able to smell the sulfur food through the phone.
Thank you. Your time is up. And Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, that concludes public comment on this item.
Okay, do any of my colleagues have any comments?
I'll move approval.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, great. Okay, great. Thank you so much. We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
And Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present and voting aye.
Okay, great. We'll move to non-agenda public comment.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer. We do have 13 requests to speak on matters not listed on the agenda. All those are coming via phone. So for those constituents that have requested to speak via phone, if you could please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll go ahead and give you a moment to do so. All right, so now we will hear from those that have requested to speak by phone. Again, when it's your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments, and we will go ahead and begin with our first caller.
Hi, my name is Dora Fahim, president and founder of Los Angeles Alliance for Animals. Animal cruelty is not just a moral issue, it's a public safety crisis. Yesterday, LA District Attorney's Office announced it is pursuing 25 new animal cruelty cases, including 18 felonies filed over the last 6 weeks. DA Nathan Hochman highlighted his office attempts to bring to justice those accused of violently abusing animals. Among those charged with felony animal cruelty are Esteban, 28, accused of dropping a dog on her head, kicking her, and then throwing her into a stack of tires where she was left to die. Joseph, 51, accused of throwing his girlfriend's 4-year-old terrier off a balcony during a domestic dispute. Michaela, 22, is accused of strangling a 2-year-old American bully that he was pet sitting at her home in San Fernando. It is clear other municipalities are actually stepping up, and it's time for the County of San Diego to start doing the same. Monitoring criminal activity is a waste of tax dollars rather than enforcement of California law and prosecution. The horses on Artesian Road need to be removed, and Deborah Barkley prosecuted for allegations of criminal animal cruelty towards the horses. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. We will go to our next speaker.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth. My comments are for the County Animal Services. As we speak, there are hundreds of animals who are suffering. They are neglected, abused, and ignored because of you. There are dogs in shelters who are lucky to get a walk once a week. They stay in cages and stand in their own urine and feces because of you. San Diego has the largest population of horse owners than other municipalities, and many horses are dying also because of you. Artesian Road, for example. You cannot say that you are not aware of these things because I have just informed you, so now you are aware and it's on record. This is my third call into this forum regarding these animal neglect matters. You are violating Hayden's Law, which is also causing more animal cruelty and neglect. The county needs to hold you each legally liable for your non-compliance in these matters, in my opinion. Bring back Dan D'Souza. Thank you.
Thank you. We will go to our next caller.
Hi, my name.
You may have muted yourself. We cannot hear you. For the caller, Christina, we cannot hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, my name is Christina Koo. I'm a California attorney, and I have worked on environmental and animal related cases in this state, and usually it's revolving around violations of animal welfare laws. And I have chimed in several times and have heard a lot of folks giving very credible information, providing facts about specific animals, specific locations, addresses, and the number of animals and how they are suffering. And they have, in detail, provided information how violations have occurred. I've heard many horses and dogs in shelters regarding their sickness and their emaciated and those who have died. So I just feel like there are a lot of folks in the county who are your eyes and ears specifically for this issue. And I certainly hope the county can take them in as, make alliances with these folks who seem very intelligent and have a lot of resources, are obviously very passionate. And I feel like you can utilize their help and perhaps find some solutions and getting volunteers on all these subjects that they have all provided you information on. And I'd be happy to provide any assistance as well. And you have resources. I certainly would like to see these intelligent, compassionate, credible residents of San Diego be of service to you and help the animals too. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to our next speaker.
Hi, my name is Susan, and I'm calling about the Artesian Road animals. As you've probably heard today, that these animals are suffering and need to be taken away from that farm. You folks have known about this for years and have done absolutely nothing. There are violations against this woman, and what you need to do is get off the chair, get in your cars, and go down there and see for yourself so you can see how bad things are. I mean, the dogs are drinking algae water. The horses are eating moldy hay. They're not being taken care of physically or emotionally. And, it just makes me wonder if you have children, if they knew what you were ignoring, how they would feel about what you haven't done to take care of these animals. So do it, get down there, take care of them, and, if you can sleep at night after you've seen what's going on, then there's something wrong with you. And just fix it already. I mean, nobody needs to tell you any more than you already know. It's time to take care of it. You're compliant in what's happening, and so just do it. All right? Thank you.
Thank you. And Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, that concludes the request for non-agenda public communication this afternoon.
Okay, with that, our meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. The next regular meeting of the board will take place on May 20th.